Hi folks, welcome to my channel and day 30 of the 2018 Inktober drawing challenge. And for today, the penultimate day of the challenge, the word prompt from Jake Parker's official list is Jolt. And this was a really tricky one. With my animal theme, I first thought of a jolt of electricity and an electric eel, but I didn't really fancy drawing an eel, so I did a bit of research and came up with an Oriental Hornet. And I'll tell you why this insect fits the prompt in just a bit. So for this hornet painting today, I'm using my Ecoline inks and I've split the colour swatches into two, just to make it easier to see. I did the leafy branch first, followed by the hornet itself afterwards. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, because even though Inktober is almost done, I've still got lots of ideas for future videos. If you hit the bell icon as well, you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. Thank you as always to anyone who is subscribed, old and new. I really appreciate your support and it really helps out my channel. So on with the painting of this Oriental Hornet, and the reason this wasp-like insect fits in with the prompt today is that it has the unique ability to harvest solar energy, which it can transform into electrical energy, which it then uses to help with the digging of their underground colonies. How cool is that? So you learn something new every day. My initial aim for this painting was to do a fairly blurry branch and flowers and then put a lot of detail into the hornet so it would pop out of the page. I thought that as I was painting with ink, I would mark out some rough leafy shapes to begin with and then go over the whole of the background once that was done with a green wash. But the leafy branch took rather longer than I expected, so I decided not to do this in the end, and instead added some deeper green and brown tones later on, in the hope that the more detailed version of the leafy branch, which you'll see me finishing off after the hornet, would be enough to act as a background by itself. So after mapping out most of the branch and the flowers, it was time to move on to the hornet, and these insects usually have dark red or brown bodies with a few yellow segments at the back, and it's these different coloured segments that soak up the sun's energy. So I really enjoyed painting the rich dark red, brown and yellow segments of this insect. It's so different to the wasps and hornets we get here in the UK, but that's not to say that I'd like to bump into one, just that I really enjoyed inking it out. So I'm using my Ecoline inks as I said today, and I'm really pleased that I went with the decision to use these over Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay inks. And the only real reason that I choose one over the other is to do with, or a lot to do with, the colour choices. And one of the colours in the Ecoline range that I've got is called reddish brown, and it was just the perfect colour for this hornet. It was really rich and had a really nice red tinge to it as well, which was just so good for the areas that needed that colour. And I think the Dr. P.H. Martin's inks, although they're probably a little bit more resistant to water, I would say, and a little bit more permanent, they're not quite as good a colour range, although I could have mixed it up myself, but it was just so nice to have this ready-made colour that was just so right for the job. So once I'd filled in most of the colour of the hornet, it was time to just go in with a dark sepia and, using a very fine size 0 paintbrush, add some of those fine hairs to the body. And once that was done, it was time to move back to the branch. And I just wanted to go back and add a bit more contrast with some darker values on the leaves as well as the branch itself. And although I kind of ran out of time today to do what I'd initially planned, I was quite pleased with how it turned out, and I actually feel like I've got a second win today, right at the last minute anyway, but hopefully we'll finish on a high tomorrow as a result. So if you've made it through to this far in the video and you're still watching, you might gather why I decided not to do a wash over the background as well, because this did take me quite some time, and it kind of makes me laugh a bit now, and I can say that now looking back on the month, because originally I thought I would take an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do each painting, and then I just have the editing to do in the afternoon. So I'd kind of all got it planned out, and that was what I had in mind. Now that's a bit of a joke really, because some of the paintings did take me an hour and a half, but it seemed that the longer I went through the month, the longer I tended to spend on each painting. So this one we're looking at nearly 3 hours, which is pretty ridiculous. And yeah, one of my aims was to increase the speed of my painting and drawing and get quicker. But then having said that, I think that I've got more confident with what I expect of myself and what I feel that I can tackle. But there we go, that's the way it goes sometimes, I guess. So the last thing for this picture, once I'd done all that greenery, was just to go in with my white gel pen and add a few highlights here and there. And then I softened some of these out with just a damp small paintbrush. And then this piece was complete. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.